Hey, how's it going? I'm just gonna jump right into it. It's all about the power core, unlocking game characters, and everything. Just gonna jump right into it and get over, get it over with, instead of just trying to hype it up or anything. One thing a company has, trust. That's the most valuable thing a company has, no matter what type of company it is. Gaming, product, beverage company, food company, grocery store, or anything like that. Restaurants, it's trust. It's the most valuable thing a company has, and time is the most valuable thing players invest in. Once both those are lost, everything built on that starts to fall apart. It's simple. That's just how things are. If you don't trust someone, you'll move to something else that where you feel that you can trust. And you can see how quickly that shifts happens when a brand loses credibility. I mean, even Budweiser, who had the top spot, number one selling for decades, dropped down the ranks after trust took a hit. He went from number one to five or six. And they've been battling ever since, and they lost it. They can't recover. So the current state of Marvel Strike Force is clearly structured to encourage spending at a progression points. Well, technically, it's been like that from day one. That design isn't unusual, I should say, in live service games. I mean, the issue lies in with how aggressive those pressure points are implemented and how unevenly they impact the player base. Now, I want to make sure that everyone understands the people building these games are not disconnected from the game. Many of them have a passion for their work. They wouldn't be doing it just because they do it. They love either working on and creating games or working with these characters or even both. And I can relate to that firsthand. When I worked for Marvel as a freelance writer, I put in long hours, and I mean long hours, on menial things and projects for little to no compensation because I believed in what I was contributing to, and I enjoyed it. That level of investment does not disappear once someone joins a company, starts working for a company, or anything like that. They keep that. So keep that in mind about Marvel Strike Force. With that said, the blog. What happened on there, they said it was a test. And what happened was not a test. It was a calculated move that landed directly on the players who keep this game alive. The follow-up message about the communication doesn't help. They said on there that something along the lines of, we didn't know, we didn't get the word out, but they did not apologize. It comes across, and the way that they said it, it comes across as like that South Park episode covering the Exxon apology bit, where they repeated, "We're sorry, we're sorry," knowing that they aren't really sorry, and they're going to continue to do it because they have continued to do it. It's repetitive, and it means absolutely nothing to the player base. If you're going to say something, mean it. And that's how this all feels. Empty words, no accountability, every expectation that will happen and happen again. Power core sale was pushed to drive spending. Okay, that's fine. But the way they set it up is where the shady part comes in. One of the only reliable ways used to core for new characters unlocks disappeared without even warning. And they knew it because questions were raised well before it went live from the previous blog, and they just brushed it off. That's not a misunderstanding. That's not, oh, we overlooked getting the word out. That's selling value first, to removing it once the money was already in. Players made a decision based on a system that they built on how to unlock characters. And the changes in the rules, and then they change it at the very last minute, pull the rug out just to get the profit in. That is how it feels. That's how it comes across. And the damage is not spread evenly on top of that, of just unlocking the characters. Free-to-play players took the hardest hit, which is the fastest way to weaken the entire game. They fill alliances, keep the matchmaking activity, and give spenders a reason to stay engaged. When that group starts to leave, everything behind it starts to collapse. This has already played out across the entire industry numerous times. Electronic Arts, for example, took a major hit with Star Wars Battlefront 2 when their progression felt unlocked behind spending. Blizzard Entertainment burned goodwill with Diablo Immortal by separating players from everyone else. Paying players, I should say, my fault, from everyone else. Xvant Games pushed too far with the culling and lost the entire game. Gameloft faced backlash over Disney's Speedstorm after stripping away meaningful rewards. Well, we don't get that Gear 20. When's that going to happen? They took away all the training mats. Now they're trying to hurry up, base it around an anniversary to dish it out. Even Riot Games was hit with criticism in League of Legends when their player-friendly systems were reduced. The outcome is always the same. When players feel pushed instead of supported, they leave. So, what does all that mean? The warning signs are already here. A game in a strong position builds confidence through meaningful updates, long-term direction, and systems that improve the experience. What's happening now points the other way. Even though they're doing some of it, it still has monetization is getting more aggressive. Events are recycled with less value. All we're getting is the same thing, day after day, after week, and month. That's not fun. A game is meant to be fun. If a game can't be fun, people walk away. Everyone does. People at Scopely should know this because I'm sure they play games too. This isn't growth. It's extraction. By taking whatever they can from the players. And on top of that, we got technical changes that are adding to it. Updates that strain older devices quietly cuts off a player base. People aren't going to upgrade their phones just to keep playing the game. And then the use of the website, doesn't help either, because not everyone has access to a computer that can handle that. What browser they use depends on it as well. If your laptop's not up to date, that browser's not going to work. That phone's not going to work. Once again, they leave. So they brought out the idea of the new upcoming menu overhaul. It looks flashy, it looks great, but a menu overhaul does not solve the core problems. A clean interface does not fix progressional issues reward imbalance, or the growth that feels the time spent lost doesn't matter. Presenting it as a long-term solution feels disconnected from what players are actually dealing with. The current problems aren't even being handled properly. Yet bugs and errors continue to benefit a small group of rewards that rewards all the players because they missed out. They don't have a chance. Oh, you had a 2-hour window. If you didn't catch it, too bad. Or, well, they shut them down quickly, then everyone gets compensation that doesn't come close to matching what was gained. That doesn't fix anything. That just continues to erode the fan base and upset them. When players see that exploiting a mistake is more rewarding than playing normally, that's another factor in the trust. And trust doesn't come back because the menu is going to look better like they hope. And that's not, and a menu won't keep them there. Once players believe a system is uneven, every update is questioned, no fairness and consistency, no redesign is going to keep that. Now, from a business standpoint, the direction is hard to ignore. Scopely has much larger revenue drivers in Monopoly Go and Pokemon Go. What is happening here looks like a product being squeezed while attention shifts elsewhere. They put mass money into those games for marketing. I don't know how much they put in here, but it's nowhere near what they spend in there. Whether that's openly stated or not, it's exactly how it comes across. The player base is already reacting. This is not a one-time issue. It's been building for months. Alliances are struggling to stay full. Every single time we have players leaving, we try to find another player. The game is set up to have players that have left jump into an alliance with no intention of playing. Longtime players are walking away because updates feel like it takes more than it gives. At this point, the series of bad decisions looks intentional, reduce value, increase pressure to spend, limit access, repeat. That is not how a live service game survives. That is how it gets drained until there is nothing left, followed by a move into the next product that generates more profit. And if nothing changes, the outcome is simple. Players leave, engagement drops, revenue follows. By the time anything corrected, the trust that kept people invested are gone. And this isn't coming from a place from someone that wants the game to fail. I enjoy the characters. I enjoy the concept of the game, or I wouldn't have been playing for years. I play Elder Scrolls Online for years because I like the concept. I played Fallout for the very same thing. Right now, this feels like it's being run in the ground for a short-term game. If Scopely keeps doing what they're doing now, it won't turn into anything around. The current pattern rewards a small group, frustrates the majority, and tends to smooth over their compensation. If they really wanted to fix this and bring players back to Marvel, it would take a shift in how they operate, not just what they give out. First, they need to fix the fairness before monetization. The biggest issue you've been calling out is selective advantage, essentially. Bugs, exploits, and things of those natures. If something breaks, give the players an advantage. The fix cannot be taken away and send everyone else scraps of what you think is the same value. Give us the same value. Either roll it back cleanly, which is going to be hard to do because people have already spent those rewards, so it's hard to keep track. So that's not feasible. So then just give everybody access to the same thing for a limited amount of time, a week. Right now, it just feels arbitrary, and players don't stick around for arbitrary systems. Second, here's a huge thing is transparency. It has to replace the silence. Like I said, they knew a week before, and they just stayed silent that they were going to change on how characters were going to be rolling out. That is intentional. If power core orbs or drop rates are adjusted and stay cleanly, these errors explain exactly what happened and how it's being handled. Vague messaging is what turns into frustration into distrust. Meaning, if you're going to take it away without anything and then say, okay, well, sorry, it changed. And not even technically apologize, which I said before, trust is gone, and it just looks like more and more like a cash grab. And that is exactly what they did. And they know they did because they stayed silent on it. Third, monetization needs to feel optional again. Right now, the pressure curve is too steep when progression feels locked behind spending, free to play, and modern spenders disengage. The healthiest live service games made its spending feel like an acceleration, not access. If players feel the same to pay just to keep up, they'll stop trying altogether. Compensation. That has to match the impact. I already mentioned that. It should reflect the exact loss, not a generic bundle. Players can easily do the math. When it's not adding up, it reinforces the idea that the company doesn't care, understand the game, or doesn't respect the player's time, and that is players' most valuable commodity, as I said. Fifth point, fix the game before expanding it. New characters, new models, new monetization layers mean nothing if the core experience is unstable. They keep adding new powers and elements to the game before even fixing the game. We've gotten time warp with Fred. We're going to get Wrath. We got Annihilus, his ability to come back. All those things are new to the game, and everything new to any game, whether it's console, mobile, or anything, opens up the chance of bugs. So fix them. Sixth, reward long-term investments. Veteran players are your foundation. If they feel like their years of grinding can be bypassed overnight by a wallet or a lucky exploit, they won't just quietly quit. They'll take others with them. Loyalty needs visibility again, the value of it again. I mean, there have been big spenders that have left because of everything mentioned above. A global event where everyone gets equal access to something previously limited, meaning a meaningful overhaul of power core economy, a transparent rework of orb and progression pacing. Something that's big, not a small gesture that will actually cost them now, but in the end, give them long-term revenue is something that can build trust, bring back players, and keep the game interesting. Like what they're doing with these best buddies. That's great. But are those characters going to be meaningful in any way? Will they help unlock the new legendary? Or just, hey, we just given you some scraps again? Because the reality is, players don't leave game just because of monetization. That's a huge factor. but they leave when they feel the system is unfair and the developers don't care about them. Fix those things and people come back. Ignore them, and no amount of new content or flashy offers will stop the bleed. Overall, it's you have people that enjoy the game, but you're making it less enjoyable. Bring back stuff to be interesting for them, not just a new menu. That's not going to work. So they asked for opinions, comments, and stuff. So I decided to throw this one out there. Sorry it was a little bit long, but I wanted to get my opinion out, and hopefully they will. They don't, I doubt they're going to listen to everything I say or anything, but hopefully at least that they'll listen. If they listen and try to take everyone's advice to a degree, of course. I mean, put out a survey, and not ones like they've done before. Put on an actual meaningful survey of not just about spending, not just about this, but enjoyment of the game, and allow comments in it to where people can say why they aren't enjoying it. What is stopping them from continuing? You'll get more comments, like I've said, and they can work on that. But again, they have the bigger bosses that work with Scopely and above that demand, hey, we want this. They have to show progress with what they're doing to make their bosses happy. But they have to keep the balance. Keep your bosses happy, keep the customers happy. Anyway, thanks for listening. Again, I hope sorry it was a little bit long. It seemed a bit ranty, but I want to try to add some stuff in there that could possibly give them ideas instead of it just being a complaint. That's one thing. Just if you're enjoying the game, enjoy it. And that's why we were all here, is to enjoy the game. But again, if we're not enjoying it, people are going to just move to another game. There are plenty of games out there, new releases coming out all the time. That's how the industry is. Well, you guys have a great night. Hope everyone's staying out there safe. Enjoy the weather if you have some nice weather. If not, again, stay safe. Bundle up if you're in a cold area. Stay hydrated if you're in a hot area. And get out there, get some sun, go for a walk. Get that vitamin D. It'll keep you nice and healthy. All right. You guys all have a great day. Bye.